Thanks a lot for coming. What a great facility. My name is Jeremy Ford. I'm responsible for our cloud services business at Dell. And really kind of want to walk through a few things today around kind of what we're seeing around cloud, specifically the partnership that we have with Scale Matrix, and kind of give you a little bit of insight into our strategy. I wanted to make it a little bit more informal, kind of given the structure of the event, hence the jeans. I don't know if you wear a tie into a data center, but I got by with that. But I've been involved in the cloud at Dell for a number of years, and I've kind of realized over time that I kind of begin to associate it with kind of somewhat of like a midlife crisis. I may not look like it, but I'm coming up on my midlife, kind of in the 40s area, and a lot of my friends kind of have like a common kind of discontent in the sense that either they had all these dreams that they wanted out of life and they haven't quite met them yet, or the flip side is they've achieved all their goals and they're like, is this really it? And I think cloud's a little bit like that, in the sense that in some cases you're looking toward the cloud to kind of do all these great things and you don't know where to start. In other cases you're in the cloud and it really hasn't kind of produced the results that you wanted to. And so what I wanted to walk through today is just kind of talk through a little bit of why this happens. And so there's definitely a big influx of aspects around increased mobility, the overall kind of explosion of big data, and companies want to utilize mobility, cloud, big data to really achieve their business objectives. And there's a lot of reasons why you hear why you can't get access to that information, why you're not taking advantage of it, things like legacy systems, things of like complexity, cost, etc. There's security concerns. But really I think it's much more kind of basic than that, where there's a lot of promise with a lot of the emerging technologies, but what it requires more than anything, whether you're a provider or whether you're a customer, is you need to understand what you want to specialize in. Fundamentally, cloud enables you to specialize, in that sense that you now have access to multiple providers that specifically focus on what they want to be really good at. And so when you have all these different trends around mobility, cloud, big data, being able to do different compliance standards, etc., the key thing that you must focus on is really ask yourself the question of what do you want to do with cloud? What do you want to do with these things? What is your key objective? What is your key purpose that you want to go after? So let me give you an example. There's a healthcare company, Daughters of Charity, that has about 6 hospitals, nonprofit organization, up through Los Angeles up through San Francisco. And their mission is to provide world-class healthcare to the poor. Interesting combination. And the way, if you talk to Dick, who's the CIO of Daughters of Charity, he'll say, I want to be able to deliver better patient care, but I don't want all the IT stuff getting in the way and causing the typical problems. And so they went in, they deployed a private cloud, they basically virtualized their entire environment, enabled easy access to physicians to get access from any device, and but they kept on their mission, and they kept on their mission that they wanted to do single sign-on so that doctors and nurses could walk up to any terminal, get access to their data desktops. And so fundamentally, even though it was a multiple technologies that they used to enable their vision, they really kept on what they wanted to be known as. And so if you look at that, the reason why it's so important that you need to figure out when it comes to cloud what your specific objective is because we believe that it's going to be a multi-cloud environment, in that you're going to have choice on a number of suppliers, which suppliers you want, and when you look at kind of the application workloads that we're seeing, and then the applications are getting much more complex, they're expanding multiple environments, multiple data centers, they're becoming cloud aware. Those workloads are now running on multiple cloud environments, and so when you look at your environment a number of years from now, it's going to be a multi-cloud reality. You're going to have to determine what parts you want to keep in-house and what parts you want to outsource. And even we just did a recent survey with Forrester where it talked about where 71% of customers want to buy cloud from a single provider, but the reality is about 63% already have multiple cloud platforms in their environment, and 53% are already buying from multiple vendors. And so the reality is that the cloud is going to enable multiple providers into your data centers, into your businesses. And the key is, how do you want to leverage those to achieve your unique business objectives? And so you'll see us put a lot of investment in how do we enable this kind of multi-cloud reality, and how do we determine what we want to specialize in as well. And so let me kind of talk a little bit about kind of somewhat the journey that we've been on. So if you look at Dell, we've been involved in building some of the most complex and dense clouds in the world. About 5 years ago, we decided that we want to specialize on building hyperscale Web 2.0 cloud environments. And if you want to talk about specialization, I actually know a lot of the guys that started that business, and they're definitely special, some in different ways than others. But they made a commitment that, 5 years ago, you drove into the Dell parking lot, and there was this container sitting there that was nondescript, not very flashy, and they're like, yeah, we're going to make a modular data center out of this. We're going to pack it full of servers, and you can move it all over the world. And then since then, there's been a lot of success in this space of really driving the highest density, the highest kilowatt per rack capabilities. So if you looked at what we've done for eBay in the last number of years, in 2010 they deployed their first modular data center. They actually deployed it on the roof of their Phoenix data center, and it's completely free air cooled. And so we were able basically to I think about 115-degree day in Phoenix, we were running at roughly 26 kilowatts per rack. And it's completely free air cooled at a power utilization effectiveness of 1.043, which basically means that every watt of power that's going into compute, only 0.043 is going to actually cooling the environment. And so that was kind of a start a couple of years ago, and we just deployed what we call the Epic Modular Data Center at eBay in their Salt Lake City data center. And we're now getting 50 kilowatts per rack. And now from eBay, where it's so important that they can enable dynamic scale, they can literally deploy thousands of servers in minutes. Like this rolls in on the back of a truck. They bring a huge crane up, move it over, and connect power and network. And then in about 22 minutes, in configuration, these servers are live in their environment. And so from a specialization perspective, we want to be really good at building private clouds, and we do so and have done so for some of the largest clouds in the world, Microsoft Bing, eBay, etc. But we can also take that specialization and apply it to a single customer. And we've done so for different providers, where we can take the same basic technology, either the custom servers that we have on the inside, the software that we use to manage these environments, the actual modular data centers themselves, and we can apply it to a single customer. So Telefonica Digital was trying to establish their own public cloud service. And so we took a lot of this base capability, and in about 5 weeks, we were able to get their public cloud live. And so from a Dell perspective, we want to specialize on how we enable and build private clouds. Some of you may know that we started with the private cloud piece, and we said, hey, let's go build a public cloud. And so a number of years ago, we started on the public cloud journey. And frankly, in the last couple quarters, we decided that that's not where we want to go. And there was a few reasons for that. One is because we spent all this time transforming our own environments, and we transformed our own systems, our own tools, and we recognized that we weren't really kind of getting access to our core capabilities. We were upsetting some of our best customers because we were beginning to compete with the same people that we were supplying against. We had all this managed service and higher value added capability that we weren't able to layer on top of the cloud. And so we made a decision about a quarter and a half ago to change our approach to public cloud. And frankly, it's been one of the best decisions that we've made since I've been involved in cloud. And that decision was, instead of building our own public cloud, we're going to begin to get access to an ecosystem of providers that specialize in building some of the best public clouds, multi-tenant clouds in the world. And you're sitting in one of the best facilities that I've ever seen to be able to deliver cloud services. And so 2 quarters ago, we decided, hey, we're really good at building private clouds. We want to continue to build private clouds, but we recognize that there's an ecosystem of providers, ScaleMatrix being one of the premier ones, that we want to leverage to grow our overall cloud business. And so we're able to take advantage of, ScaleMatrix has made a decision that they want to specialize in developing one of the highest capable data centers in the world, with beer and everything, which is really nice. I'm not sure it always has beer in it, but it's pretty cool. And so they specialized on it. And so within 1 quarter, we moved our entire public cloud business over to Scale Matrix, and it has been nothing but success because we're able to take advantage of the power of their capabilities and the power of our capabilities, and frankly, we're winning deals that neither one of us on our own would have won because we bring the power of the ecosystem to bear. And so when you look at, there's just actually a deal that we won last week with Scale Matrix with an oil and gas company, a drilling company, where they had specific requirements. They wanted a data center in Houston, Texas. They wanted to be able to back up to a data center in another location like San Diego, but they had requirements around, they were migrating their SAP workloads. Those SAP workloads were growing 30% year over year, and they had a lot of complexity in how they manage that environment. And so we brought in our application management services with SAP, leveraged the Scale Matrix infrastructure, and we signed that deal last week or in a couple of days. Congratulations, David. And so again, it just goes back to when you recognize what you want to specialize in and you develop an ecosystem of partners, that's fundamentally where the power of the cloud is. And so with that, the key is how do you manage across all of these clouds? How do you really kind of integrate the capabilities of different providers? And when you look at kind of your application environment, your business environment, a lot of times your applications are a reflection of your business, but they drive specific requirements around where they're hosted, whether they're on legacy environments, whether they're in cloud-aware environments, whether they're using different technologies like OpenStack or VMware, Microsoft, et cetera. But how do you aggregate it all together? And our belief is that in addition to building out private clouds, we also want to specialize in enabling multi-cloud management. We bought a company a couple quarters ago called Instradius that basically enables you to manage multiple cloud environments through a common open source API called Dasein, and we actually can integrate with some 20 different platforms. And so from a perspective of recognizing that it's going to be a multi-cloud reality, that multi-cloud reality enables you to specialize on your unique business objectives. And this multi-cloud management capability we have is what pulls it all together so you can get the power of providers like Scale Matrix along with Dell, but you get consistent user interface, you get consistent automation, governance, compliance, where you can control spend across multiple clouds. And so we fundamentally believe that this is where the industry is going, and this Dell Plus ecosystem of partners is frankly more powerful than what we could have done individually. And so with that, I'm happy to announce that it says soon. It actually is in the first week of November. We'll actually have the multi-cloud manager fully enabled with Scale Matrix, which will put Scale Matrix in the ecosystem providers that you can access. And so whether you're getting services from other providers, whether you're getting services from Dell, you can get consistent automation across those different environments, scale up and down different workloads based on different policies. You can do common policies like certain spending limits and those kind of things. And so we're really excited about Multi-Cloud Manager being available on Scale Matrix. And the key thing about this is it's all based on an open source API platform. So if you develop your applications to run on this environment, you're not locking yourself into any one provider. And so it supports Amazon and GoGrid and Azure and VMware and SoftLayer and a number of different providers, Joyent, et cetera. So the key is that it's going to be a multi-cloud reality. It's about how you partner with different providers to really achieve your unique business objectives. And it's really about how you bring the specialization of multiple providers and multiple companies to bear on a common problem. And I think there's kind of a good example of this is some of the work that we've been doing with the Translational Genomics Institute, where we've really broken up the problem with them, where we allow companies and individuals to focus on the key things that they're really good at, similar to what you can do in a multi-cloud environment to really go after neuroblastoma pediatric cancer. It's a cancer that attacks the nervous system, and it affects about 1 in 100,000 children, but because it's so unique that it's very difficult to treat with any common kind of horizontal technique. And so what we've done is we've partnered with TGen, and what we've allowed is that there's individuals and companies that really focus on how do you more efficiently collect the genomic information. We've donated large high-performance computing clusters and really specialize on how we basically improve the efficiency with which you can do genomic sequencing. And so what happens is that what used to take months to sequence a full genome now takes a matter of days and hours. And so what we can do is that you can actually, for that individual child, you then can sequence their DNA, and then you can apply the best known medicine specifically based on their DNA versus just a general analysis. And so we specialize, we worked with groups that specialize on how you take the initial sample. We've worked with teams on how you specialize on the genomic sequencing to make it much more efficient, much more powerful. And then we've all then store all this information in the Dell Cloud, which is HIPAA compliant and high-tech certified, where then it's now a collaboration environment where multiple researchers from across the country can see the results, and it establishes a feedback loop and a collaboration portal so that the different tumor boards can get the latest and greatest treatment based upon real-world information that's happening in real time. So instead of it happening over a series of weeks and months, which many of these kids don't have, it's an example of when you take advantage of the power of everybody doing what they're really specialized in, you can really make a difference in your own business as well as in things like pediatric cancer. So thank you a lot for your time today. Good luck with the raffle. I think you can move across multiple seats and get a few different tickets if you want. But if you have any questions afterwards, I'll be off to the side. Thanks. Appreciate it.